News. More news now.
KLIF News Time, it is 6:36, and joining us now is attorney Frank Branson. He's represented clients in major pipeline explosions, including a fatal one in McKinney. Frank, thanks for joining us. Obviously, it's really early to tell how much from the scene of the explosion west. But as we go down this road, we'll have to start assigning blame. And walk us through first which parties might be looked at for possible lawsuits.
Well, I think Kirk, we really need to start with what triggered the explosion. I think everybody recalls what happened to the federal building in Oklahoma City, and as I recall, that was a fertilizer bomb that created the explosion. So you've got the potentially explosive material. Be nice to know what precautions were taken to keep it from being triggered into an explosion, whether they had sprinkler systems throughout the building, what safety devices were built into the system.
Now, also, would it come into account that the apparently this plant was there before those houses and the schools were built? In other words, they came after. So would that play into negligence?
Certainly, if I were going to buy a house, I'd like to think the architect and builder had looked at not putting me in a bomb zone.
You would hope so. What else will they be looking at?
Well, I think until we know more about the mechanism that triggered the explosion, until we know more about the potential hazard or the way this particular fertilizer was stored, it's all going to be just speculation. What really needs to happen is a group of investigators need to get in and begin to put together this whole bomb scene the same way they're doing in Boston today after the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to jump the gun, but we did want to get you on and talk about it, just a little bit. I understand that they may not have sprayed water to start off just because the explosion that could possibly make it worse.
It's an interesting concept. I'm not familiar that a sprinkler system would make it more likely or less likely for an explosion of fertilizer. Initially, you would think it would help, but it may not.
We're talking to attorney Frank Branson. Can the town of West or the state of Texas file lawsuits as well, just out of curiosity?
I think, again, we've got to go back to what the facts were that created this catastrophe. And the facts could certainly fall so that the citizens could try to find a way to file a lawsuit for the losses of the city. But you've got so much human devastation.
Right.
The people whose homes were burned and family was killed. I would think the city would go back in the line a little way before you took care of its citizens.
Talking to attorney Frank Branson, some of these people have been displaced. They have no clothes. They have no home. Insurance companies are obviously getting involved. What kind of a time frame for these people to kind of, quote, get back, on their just initial feet and then to really get back to their lives?
It's going to take a while. I mean, this just in a family whose individual home burns for whatever reason, it takes a long time and to adjust to the new circumstances. I say that from personal experience. Our family home burned back in '86, and I watched my family. It was well insured. No one was injured, but it's a major loss to a family to lose your home, and certainly if you lose your home and a loved one, it's very difficult road to hoe.
Attorney Frank Branson is joining us. It's going to be a long process, but we appreciate you joining us for just a couple of minutes to kind of discuss some of the options and what may be going on for the next several months.
Well, Kurt, you're welcome. It's good talking to you.
Thanks. Have a great afternoon. Still ahead on 570 KLIF. Traffic and weather's coming up next. An update from the Wall Street Journal comes your way at 6:50, and the latest in sports at 6:53. KLIF News and Information Time. Thanks for joining us. It's 6:40.